Mr. Speaker, since Hurricane Irma hit South Florida earlier this month, my staff and I have been on the ground in the Florida Keys and South Dade, helping our district with immediate recovery efforts and listening to what our constituents need going forward. In the lower and middle Florida Keys, it's hard to find someone who hasn't been affected financially by this storm's devastation. From restaurant workers who have been without a paycheck to fishermen whose boats or traps were damaged, small businesses and the families that depend on them are really struggling. In South Dade, crops and agriculture structures critical to daily operations were devastated by wind. Some small farms that were already struggling to make ends meet have now exhausted their cash on hand to pay for cleanup, leaving them with little to pay workers or keep up their planting schedule. Mr. Speaker, my district and similar communities throughout Florida, Louisiana, Texas, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands need relief, and this bill is a great start. Through the business tax credit for wages, small business owners like Owen, a lobster and crab fisherman whose traps in the Middle Keys were destroyed by Hurricane Irma, will be able to claim a tax credit for 40% of employee wages. That is money Owen can use to get his employees back to work as soon as possible. The bill will also allow taxpayers to refer to earned income from the immediately preceding year for purposes of determining the earned income tax credit. That's over 415,000 hurricane survivors in Miami-Dade and nearly 7,500 in Monroe County who will be able to keep more of their paycheck when the time comes to pay taxes next year. We're also going to make it easier for individuals and businesses like farmers struggling in South Dade and fishermen in the Keys to deduct more of the cost from the extensive property damage these storms left behind. This legislation would also give anyone struggling with initial recovery immediate access to their retirement savings without penalties so they can make ends meet and take care of their families. Lastly, this legislation will lift caps on charitable giving to qualified hurricane relief organizations, encouraging more American businesses and individuals to continue generously supporting their fellow citizens. Mr. Speaker, Americans in Texas, Florida, Louisiana, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico need Congress to act. My constituents and those in other communities like my district don't have time to wait. They certainly don't have time to play political games. The Disaster Tax Relief and Airport and Airway Extension Act of 2017 will give them the means to recover faster and rebuild their communities better and stronger than before. This tax relief package we are considering deserves bipartisan support from my colleagues. I want to thank Chairman Brady and the Ways and Means Committee for allowing me to shape this legislation for the benefit of South Florida residents, especially those in Monroe County who were hardest hit by Hurricane Irma. I hope we can get this done today. Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.